Welcome to In Good Company, where relationships drive results, with your host, Lisa Kilray. In each episode, we explore how great leaders build trust, inspire teams, and turn meaningful connections into real success.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kilray, host of In Good Company, where relationships drive results. On this show, I talk with leaders and innovators across manufacturing, distribution, and B2B industries about the paths that led them to where they are today and how they think about the issues, opportunities, and challenges shaping the world. This episode is sponsored by WSI eResults, revolutionizing digital marketing for the B2B and manufacturing industries. At WSI eResults, we help B2B manufacturers, distributors, and those that service those in this space elevate their digital presence with AI-powered, data-driven strategies that generate targeted, high-quality leads and help businesses grow. From SEO and content marketing to tailored multi-channel campaigns built specifically for the unique challenges of industrial businesses, WSI eResults provides the expertise and tools to help you stand out, grow, and thrive. Learn more about WSI-manufacturing-marketing.com, your blueprint for smarter, more effective manufacturing marketing. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Pam Cumpata, someone whose entire career has been driven by one word: passion. Pam began her journey in Chicago's banking world, rising through leadership roles at major institutions like Chase and LaSalle Bank, where she mentored countless young professionals. After leaving banking, she became president of the McHenry County, Illinois Economic Development Corporation, blending her love of business with her dedication to developing future talent. She introduced thousands of students to manufacturing careers and played a key role in launching the Incubator EDU program across McHenry County high schools, helping young people discover their passions to build real businesses and careers. Today, Pam continues that work as a consultant and facilitator of CEO peer groups, supporting leaders as they grow, solve challenges, and stay true to what drives them. Pam is someone who lifts people up everywhere she goes, and I'm honored to have her as my guest today. Thank you for joining me, Pam.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I read your bio. Thank you so much for sharing that. It was very inspiring, and I love the path you took, and it doesn't sound like it was probably pre-planned. So tell me a little bit about your early days of your career, what it was like, and kind of where those turning points were that got you from Loyola University as a young woman to where you are today, which is consulting and advising CEOs.
Well, I entered Loyola University in pre-med. And I realized early on that I did not have the passion for pre-med, but I also was given some advice to stay in pre-med because it was more female friendly and not to go into business. And so I did the 5-year plan, which definitely was not a positive with my parents. So they just told me, you go back, you get your degree in something, and then get out in the world and work. And so I did. I got a job with American National Bank, which was part of First Chicago. And I worked in the trust cage. It was a beautiful place. We had duct tape all over the floor. And I sorted pink, blue, and white sheets of paper every day.
Oh, no.
So that finance degree came in really handy, sorting pink, blue, and white sheets of paper. I took it as a challenge to get it done in the most effective way I could so that I could learn more. And that has been my driver my whole life, is lifelong learning, constantly observing what someone else is doing, trying to do as much as I can effectively and correctly to get ahead. So I went from the trust cage to field audit and worked on the commercial side. So American National had the trust side and the commercial side. We really didn't have any retail, which I never wanted, no offense, but I never really
Okay.
wanted to be in that.
No offense taken.
um, but I loved the commercial side and ultimately became a commercial banker, which was a blast because what you got to do was go out and tour manufacturing facilities and see how things were made and learn the skill sets or see the skill sets that people need within those manufacturing operations.
Yep.
Lisa, you know from what you do with manufacturers that they've changed a lot in 30, 40 years.
Yes.
You're now doing I had a lot of manufacturers who thought that if the phone would ring, then they'd get a sale. That's not it anymore, right?
Nope.
It's
It's a
it's
lot more
all
complicated.
it's more complicated. You've got to have a presence. So that was always fun. That's been fun to navigate and watch from me as a commercial banker and then me into economic development.
Okay. So it on the surface, it sounds like how did you pivot to all these different paths? But they really made sense from what I can tell. And you were always, it sounds like you were very involved with the B2B manufacturing type businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and working directly with those business owners and helping them be successful. So no matter what your role, you kind of applied that expertise to help other people and their companies. That's awesome. So, what is one of your biggest pitfalls or mistakes that you learned from that you would like to share with our listeners today?
Think before you speak.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. I agree.
Um, I I am not an introvert. I am an extrovert. I also am quite outspoken when I see things happening that I don't necessarily agree with. Behaviors. I have very high ethics and morals. And so when I was in the middle of a merger, well, actually, it was an acquisition, I spoke out and ultimately got fired for my bold proclamation.
Hmm.
It was uh, what? How did so? Here's the funny thing. So I came home from getting fired. My dad was at the house. He was helping us out with something. I walked in and I said I got riffed. And my dad looked at me and he goes, "You got fired. Now what are you going to do?" I left because I didn't get what I wanted from my dad because he didn't like coddle me, right?
Right.
And I backed out of my driveway and I ran over my burning bush, ran right
Oh
smack
no.
dab over the burning.
Oh no.
Again, my temper. I have a
Right.
bit of one. But it changed the what my dad said was like, get yourself up, get yourself moving, and figure out what's next. And I have always done that. My path has not been straight. You know, you heard me say I did the 5-year plan at Loyola. My mom
Yep.
said, go back and get a degree. I get fired. My dad says, now what are you going to do about it? And so every time I get, sidetracked or knocked down, my defense is to stand back up and try again. And I think that's what business needs to always be thinking about.
Right. Right. I love that. I mean, I thank you for sharing that because some people wouldn't share that they got riffed or fired or whatever. But sometimes, setbacks like that make you a better, stronger person and business professional, and it allows you to move forward in a better direction. So I might say that that's probably what happened to you, that you took the negatives and turned it into a positive. Um, I love that example. I think it's really great for the young people because it does seem like the new generation has a different perspective on life and success and how to get there. Is there any other piece of advice, one or two pieces of advice you would give a young person, whether they're high school, college, post college?
Continue to develop yourself. Be very try to be self-aware. Read, don't, and when I say read, I mean like read some books, read the paper, don't be single focused, because in today's environment, the algorithms will direct you in places that you gravitate. And my point with them is look at all perspectives and try to understand why someone is making the decision that they're making. Why is someone acting the way they are? What's driving it? Take a step back, take a breath, and really clear the field and see what's happening. And then just always get back up.
Right.
Because you're going to, I tell my grandkids, they play all these video games, right? And every single time something happens, they get to hit the reset button and you come back to life. Well, in a way, that's what you should always be doing. Hit the reset and come back to life and maybe approach it and try to approach it differently.
Right.
Put yourself in the other person's position. You don't know, just by what they look like, it doesn't tell you who they are at all. So be
Right.
open and be honest and be a little vulnerable. I mean, Brene Brown will tell you, be vulnerable, be human. Don't be Facebook wrinkle free, I guess.
Yep.
I didn't
Which is
know
very
about that
popular.
either.
Yeah, I've never heard that phrase, but it is a thing.
Oh,
Be
I made it
yourself.
up, Lisa. I don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's why I haven't heard of it, but it's true. Be yourself and be natural and don't be fake.
Right,
And be vulnerable.
right.
That's awesome. So I'm going to ask you a question that is a little bit different than the path we've been going down. And I don't want it to be a politically correct answer. I just like this question because it can go a lot of different ways. How do you feel about artificial intelligence? And where does it fit in your life, like professionally, business wise? Are you anti? Are you embracing it? Do you see value? Are you scared? Um, there you go.
Well,
There is no right answer.
oh, I know. And I have no, I have, in our peer groups, we talk about it quite a bit because every company is trying to understand where it can fit because they know it is here and it needs to have a home.
Mm-hmm.
One of the funny things that happened a month ago is one of the companies I work with had sent out had a job opening, and they got two identical acceptance letters or thank you letters from two people who did not know each other but read the same. Because guess who tweaked it? AI.
Yeah,
Chat GPT. So we all see how it's going to be. It's here, right? It's like the internet. When the internet came, we said, oh my gosh, we don't want to be out there, but it's here. We use it. AI is the same thing. What I hope that people don't lose is, I'm going to go back to their individuality. their ability to, if all you're sending is stuff that's been culled through Chat GPT, and it's supposed to sound like you, I get that, but still keep it human. I mean, the civil engineers are using it to run some of their drones. But you don't want them using it to necessarily design a bridge, and maybe AI isn't exactly 100% correct, and now we have a bridge collapse, right? There needs to be, I mean, this morning on the news, they're having trouble with these self-driving taxis, passing school buses that have their stop signs out, right? It's great, but we can't just totally go to that. So I'm in favor of it. I know it's here. I just don't want us to jump fully into it and not be human again.
You know what? I think you hit the nail on the head, and you probably didn't even know it, but there is a phrase out there in the industry called HITL, human in the loop. So AI can do so many powerful things, and it has changed the world. It is here to stay. Mm-hmm. But if you don't keep that human in the loop, it's destined for failure and potentially disaster in some cases. As you mentioned, a bridge collapse. So it's there to assist. It's there to be a tool. It's there to make things more efficient, but it's not there to take over people's jobs completely for the most part. I mean, there may be some automation down the road that has already happened where robots are taking over some repetitive tasks, but it is so important to keep the human in the loop. So I like that
something.
answer.
I didn't know that. Human in the loop.
Yep. And you had it. You were saying it. You just didn't know the acronym. So what is one of your biggest proud moments in your life? A moment you look back on that you're especially proud of, a big success in your career highlight? And what was the biggest contributor to get there? Besides what you've said, your ability to pick yourself up after failure, continuous learning, all of that we've already talked about.
So I got fired in January of 2009. I had been on the board of directors for the McHenry County Economic Development Corporation. And they had a note, we had fired the previous president, and a few of the people came up to me and asked me to take over, to interview. And I did. And I loved it because it combined my banking and dealing with business and working with them without ever having to call a loan, which was fantastic. While I was there, I got introduced to the International Manufacturing Technology Show in Chicago, in McCormick Place, every even year. And I was seeing that we had manufacturers who were having skills shortages. And we had a bunch of high schools students that were either going to go to college or went to college and the degree didn't pan out, and then they came back and then they were sort of floundering all over. So what's beautiful about the IMTS is that they allow high school students to visit for free. They don't charge, that you can get tickets and stuff. So I had this brain trust, and I got a lot of pushback of who's going to want to go to manufacturing's dead in the United States. It's all gone overseas. And I said, well, 25% of our economic wealth in McHenry County comes from manufacturing. To me, that's a lot. It's a quarter of our economic wealth. Okay, great. And we've got a shortage of students and workers. So I went to the manufacturers and I said, if I can get the high schools to participate and send their students, will you financially support a coach bus? Not a school bus, the fancy bus, right? And they're like, cool, we'll do that. So then I had to, and I'm not an educator, so I did not know all of the hoops and all of the timing and all of the, I just thought if I walked in and talked to one of the educators that they'd say, yeah, let's go to the International Manufacturing Technology Show versus Great America. Because Great America is great for a physics class. I found out that was the logic of going to Great America.
Uh-oh, yeah.
So I did get some early adopters. Our first year, I think we sent 8 school buses or 8 coach buses.
Wow. That's a big group
And
for year one.
yes, and each bus held 55 students, and we made a video. All the manufacturers put this video together that we'd show on. Some of them even wrote in with the students. And what was so cool was the way these students navigated McCormick Place. And if you've not been to that show is in every aspect of McCormick Place, all almost million square feet or whatever. I don't even know what McCormick Place is.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, I think we were up to 15 buses. Ultimately, we got up to 22 coach buses. I had every school in the county sending students, and I had educators saying to me, you in one day, you moved our students and us 6 months into the future. So now they understand what is going on in engineering, what is going on in the metal shop, or that they can be in sales or marketing or research and development. I mean, for me to hear that, and I still have a folder with all of the handwritten notes from the students and the teachers
That's
and the
amazing.
parents. And that's why incubator is so critical too. So I'll leave that for another question.
That is a
But
great example. And I can see why you're very proud of that. I mean, this is one county in the state of Illinois. Can you imagine the impact if this was a statewide program? And I don't even know how many counties there are in Illinois, maybe 50. Um, I mean, the
probably.
impact it could have. And manufacturing is here to stay. It's not going away. And it's the foundation of our economy and the world, to be honest. So that is amazing, Pam. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so I want to wrap up. We've been at about 20 minutes, and I want to wrap up with something that kind of goes back. Tell me a little bit from where you're from, because obviously you're Illinois based. McHenry County is an Illinois county. Where
Mhm.
did you grow up, and how did that impact you? And was it a positive impact on your life as an adult? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I grew up in Hampshire, Illinois. It is about 60 miles northwest of Chicago, between Rockford and Chicago.
Okay.
My graduating class had 70 people, maybe. I was, I mean, it was small. It was fun. It
Yeah.
was usually what happened made it home before you did. I mean, you only had one way. We had one loop to go through. We went from the chicken dip to the Napa, chicken dip to the Napa if we were cruising through town to find friends. High school, I wanted to graduate after my freshman year because I was bored. I It was 1970. Now I'm going to really get my age out
Mm.
there, but it was
You
the
don't
late
need to date
70s.
yourself, but you already did.
I
I
already
mean,
did. It was the late 70s, early 80s. And in Hampshire, I mean, my mom and dad always said, you're going to college from the time I was 5. My sister and I both got told this is what you had, this is what you're going to do. We did not go. And my parents both grew up on farms. So we we just we were on the farm, we did the work, we shoveled the manure, we did all that kind of fun, good stuff. My dad was a truck driver, so my sister and I would ride in the truck with him, which with no seatbelts or car seats or
I remember those days.
so
Crazy
I mean,
times.
yeah, we grew up just I don't know, pure. I don't know. We ran outside and early in the morning and we came back late at night and nothing happened and we had fun. In high school, I got told I wanted to go for pre-med. I got told I was going to have a husband when I graduated or shortly thereafter, so I needed to take typing, bookkeeping, and shorthand. I don't know who does shorthand anymore, but and I didn't want to take typing because as far as I was concerned, I didn't need to know that because I was either going to have a secretary someday. Little did I know that, these devices all came out and we can type.
Everyone needs to know how to type. It's just not a job.
It's not a job, right? We had really good friends, really good, close friends who picked you up. I'm older than my sister by 3 years. When I turned 30, I got divorced. I was low. My sister's friends decided they were going to rent a houseboat on the Mississippi River. Fun. None of us had any money. And so the beauty of it was these girls that are my sister's age invited me to come because they knew that I was low. I needed help. And I'm now 62. And we started when I was 30. These girls are still in my life, still taking trips. They are special. We lift each other up. We call each other out. We're called the boat trip girls or the houseboat girls. They're special. They're right here. And as you can see, I'm getting a little teary here, Lise. I don't know that I've ever told them thank you for that. Aww. And then they came and were with me when my husband died unexpectedly. And again, they pick me up. That's what we do. And we're vulnerable. Believe me, we are vulnerable girls. Ladies.
Yep.
Girls, ladies, women, whatever we are right now.
You can still call yourself girls.
So if there's a lot of positives that came out of Hampshire, and that's the biggest one. I love them all.
That is very sweet, Pam. Thank you for sharing that. I wish I knew them all. And I wish I had people like that in my life. Because between your childhood and your parents, your education and your professional life, it sounds like all of those things have shaped who you are and where you are today. So I appreciate you for sharing, talking about your relationships, and how they got you to where you are today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company, where relationships drive results, with Lisa Kilray. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay connected and keep building relationships that drive results.